everybody, and welcome to the ABB Formula E World Championship as we head to Monte Carlo, the streets of Monaco, for the Monaco E-Prix. Now, we've had quite a few changes to the rostrum after free practice one, and Sam Bird was found to have broken his hand after an incident in free practice one, which saw the Brit lock up and hit the wall in the runoff area at turn 1, Saint-Devote. So McLaren confirmed the injury in a statement after the session, and Bird was examined and sent to hospital for further checks. And I could quote them, and they said, the Neil McLaren Formula E team can confirm that Sam Bird will not be participating for the remainder of the Monaco E-Prix following its on-track incident. That there are signs of potential hand injury which needs further medical attention. It would help if I unmute the chat audio so you can hear it. There we go. It's a bit loud for me at the moment, so I'll turn it down. So Taylor Barnard will be replacing Sam Bird for the remainder of this session and for the entirety of the E-Prix this weekend, who is a reserve driver for Neil McLaren. So, and joining me in the commentary box for FP2, it's not Joshua Burke. He is sorting stuff out for MotoGP later. We have got Ed Hunter in the box once again. Ed, how are you doing? And Taylor Barnard is making his E-Prix debut this weekend.
Yeah, it's certainly unexpected because the collision didn't look that bad, but I guess it was the pushback from the wheel that really sprained and injured Sam Bird's hand. You would think after a couple of similar incidents, like for Robin Fry's Mexico last year, for Sam in London in 2021, the end of season 8, that also injured his hand in the first place, that Sam would have learned by now to let go of the wheel and rather than trying to.
Oh, sorry about that. I pressed the wrong channel. Carry on. Trying to sort out your camera at the same time.
Yeah, he was trying to be a hero and save it up the escape road, which was always going to be, when you're locking up, you've not really got a whole lot in the way of steering whatsoever. So it was always a little bit of a forlorn hope for Sam Bird. But I guess it means Taylor Barnard gets a go. I don't think we can expect too much because he's only really done the rookie tests and a little bit of pre-season testing at Valencia, I guess, as well. So he's not really got any kind of Monaco experience in a Formula E car. So this is an important session for him just to get some laps on the board. Also, McLaren is still fixing that car from Bird's crash. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of an uphill struggle for him. But certainly Jaguar, on the other hand, looking pretty strong with all 4 of their powertrains in 3 practice sessions so far.
Yeah, Mitch Evans topping the practice session this morning as well. Mitch Evans did not have the best of races in Misano. Of course, qualified on pole for Misano and then messed up because it was kind of like a very interesting race. We did not know who was going to win in the first race. In the second race, it was a bit more predictable. We saw Ollie Rowland lose it. Not lose it, but ran out of energy. Kind of like a miscalculation type of thing. What's going to be the case now for Ollie Rowland? Because he's had the last few races he's been consistent, but in the last race in Misano, I think the team just miscalculated the fuel, the energy, and that what lost him the very comfortable race win.
Yeah, well, apparently what Nissan said was they had a glitch with their software on the grid, which meant that they had to recalculate everything manually, and so that's why they were. So obviously each team has a target that they will tell their driver to work to. So they had to recalculate the target by, getting the old calculator out. And essentially, Nissan were about half a lap short with their target. Oliver Rowland met the target superbly, but unfortunately, it was the target itself that was just slightly sort of over-ambitious, basically. He would have had to save about half a lap's worth more energy, which he didn't do, unfortunately. But yeah, so I think as much as Ollie Rowland would be annoyed that the team didn't look at what we could see, where we could clearly see he was over-consuming compared to the other teams around him. I think it's one of those things where, because he's still got a lot of points in his favour this season, he's only about 8 points behind the Championship League going into this one, even with that retirement. I don't think he'll be too put out I think it's a probably a forgivable mistake, and his attitude after the race seemed to indicate that. The only thing that could hurt him is if if Porsche's appeal is successful, which I think is very unlikely because it seems, in the terms of the rules at least, it's a slam dunk. I know people will hate me for saying that, but but if in the unlikely scenario that Porsche are able to get the FIA to rewrite the entire rulebook, then I think that could result in Ollie Rowland losing his win, which I think would be annoying for him, even though he said publicly that he didn't want to win that way, he didn't deserve to win because he came second on the road. But I think privately he'll want to keep the points, even if he wants to appear magnanimous in public, because racing drivers are pretty selfish, greedy people, as they should be, because they want all the points they can get.
Yeah, because there's not the first time where we could have a situation where we see like results change, like we had that with IndyCar. Just don't get me started on IndyCar. As they go to an ad break, so I have to mute Josh's audio, which is very annoying. Now, I don't want to disable video. I want to disable the audio. It's going to take me a while to get used to. Come on,
Sounds like it's going well, Jess.
There we go. The annoying thing with Josh not being here is there's still adverts with TNT Sports, but if I'd filled in last year. But luckily, it's all muted for me, so it's all good. But currently out there on top is Mitch Evans, continuing where we started off in free practice 1 with a 131.468. Then we got Nick Cassidy in P2, so a Jaguar 1-2 looking strong. Van Dorn looking good in the Penske. Now, this is the practice session where they really need to do well and get used to the track a little bit, because free practice 1 is a bit of a warm-up. Free practice 2 is more similar to the conditions that we get in qualifying, so they really can't afford to mess up, because it's either they mess up, well, if they do well and be consistent, or they hit the wall and they won't be able to take part in qualifying or the race, just like we saw with Sam Berg, because the timings are so tight this weekend.
Indeed they are, so just one mistake could set your weekend back, well, your whole day back. Remember, it's a race day, not a race weekend in Monaco. It's because it's not a double header. So, Sam Bird's collision, not just costly for him, but costly for Taylor Barnard, who will now get even less track time because they are still repairing that car, of course. And as for the other teams, it's just a case of not just preparing for the race, but also preparing for qualifying, which we know qualifying not the be-all and end-all for Formula E at Monaco, in contrast to, say, other championships that race at Monaco, where it tends to be absolutely decisive. But in terms of, you definitely want a good grid position, even if you're not in the top 10. You want to be as close to the top 10 as you can, so that you don't have to overtake quite so many cars in the first stint.
Yeah.
But so getting into the duels is certainly important, and there are the 3 points for pole as well. So Monaco, it can bite the unwary, and especially since we switched to the full layout, it's become much more of a spectacle and much more of a challenge. I think when it was on the older bridge layout in Gen 1 and Gen 2, it was pretty, half of Gen 2, I should say. It was a bridge layout that sort of just had a much tighter sand divot and then sort of cut the circuit in half at the a hairpin just before the chicane. That was a bit of a horrible layout, and I think the Grand Prix layout's so much better, and it's one of the best tracks that we have on the calendar. It's one of the few. Well, I guess we don't really have a jewel in the crown event in Formula E, but strictly because the calendar seems to be in flux half the time. But I think Monaco is about as close as we get, really, in terms of having a big internationally recognized venue that is also provides amazing racing as well. So I think we're in for a good show, and hopefully once these ads for fridges end, we can check back in with how things are going on track.
That's really expensive for a fridge, by the way. But anyway, other fridges are available. One of the races I do remember of the Monaco E-Prix was the first one in the full layout, was when Felix da Costa won the race, but there was a great fight between Robin Freight, Mitch Evans.
Season 7, yes.
Yeah, we were watching it downstairs, and me, my mum and dad were watching it, and it was like, oh my God, that's a good race. And it shows that you can overtake. It's just for other series, they need to make the car smaller. So that's why I always look forward to the E-Prix at Monaco, because it's always a huge spectacle. Of course, we had Stoffel Van Dorn that won in 2022, and we had Nick Cassidy that won in 2023. So Yeah, but 2021 is the race I do remember very vividly. With this Grand Prix layout, there was a bit of a difference in 2021, but in 2022, the full Grand Prix layout of views, as we're back to the main action, we can actually see cars going around, Ed.
Yes, wonderful, isn't it? There's Oliver Rowland for Nissan just starting a lap. Of course, a bit early in the days, the grandstand's looking a bit empty as Rowland drifts through the swimming pool chicane and out through swimming pool number 2 and into Rascasse. It's nice to have a circuit where there are corner names as well. I think Misano had a couple of names, some of the corners, but every corner is named in Monaco because it's got all that history that they can draw from, and obviously it's local, like Saint Devot, named after the church just up ahead. Oh, I like the arrow pointing out when someone's coming out of the pits there. The
I
LEDs.
do.
That's quite handy. That's quite handy for the drivers. It looks like Mortara is on a push lap, so he must be on 350 kilowatts, or 300 kilowatts, I should say.
Yeah, Mortara goes fastest with a 1 minute 34, 4.452 first pass in every sector. So yeah, he must be going with the 4 kilowatts of power, which is different stages per qualifying, of course. Qualifying will be starting quite soon after practice. It used to be a 90-minute turnaround if it's a normal Formula E weekend, but since they want to, I don't know why they want a quick turnaround, probably because of curfew and all that nonsense, but in about an hour after practice, then that's where qualifying will start. So they need to get going very quickly. Taylor Barnard is out on circuit though, so even though he's a few seconds off the pace, I think not much expectation for Barnard at this stage, because we know Behrman got thrown into the mix a little bit quite late on in Saudi Arabia. This is the same for Barnard, because he only has one practice session, whereas the other drivers have 2.
Yeah, certainly. So he can't afford to just rest on his laurels and get too comfortable. Well, he wants to get comfortable, but he's not really got a whole lot of time. Only about 15 minutes. So yeah, he's got to get his eye in. He's got to make sure that he does all the basic system checks and doesn't bin it into the wall as well, because that could be really embarrassing for McLaren. Although somebody who's not the biggest fan of McLaren for reasons that I've talked about before, I wouldn't be the most upset if he pinned it in the wall. I would certainly feel a bit bad for Taylor Barnard, but I wouldn't feel at all bad for McLaren.
Oh, McLaren fans are probably gonna have a go at you in the chat, as there's some
maybe they should get some less dodgy sponsors, then, is all I will say.
Well, speaking of sponsors, they're having a new sponsor. I think they're having a new sponsor for Miami, I think it is, which is going to be there for most series. I can't remember which one it is. Oh, MasterCard. I think it was MasterCard, I think. Yeah, because I know Ferrari are going with HP, but McLaren are going with MasterCards. Oh God, I do Visa Cash App RB. That's a rubbish name. I still call it RB, to be honest. I'm not looking forward to the MasterCard McLaren name, but I think it might be better than some other names at the moment. Here's Pascal Wehrlein out on circuit. Winner in the last round in Misano, of course, driven very, very well, benefited from Rowland's mistake. I wonder if he was obviously told in that weekend that he was running out of energy. But he is your championship leader at the moment, as we don't want to see the pit crew. We want to see Wehrlein. There we go, as he heads towards Anthony. We're not able to hear Team Reyes this weekend because no one's switching the audio. But Wehrlein's actually going to start a lap as he makes his way towards turn number 1 at Saint Devot, where we saw Sam Baird lose it earlier on. And he just about avoided the curb going up the hill.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where you can probably afford to brush the wall just about on exit, but you don't want to get too much in the rhythm of doing that, because over time that will just wear away the rear rim and the suspension, essentially. But yeah, Wehrlein, of course, has had some good performances here in the past. In 2021, I believe he was it season 8? It might have been 2022. I remember he was leading and then had the bit of his powertrain fail. The inverter, I think, failed, and while he was leading, which was a big blow for Porsche. And then in Gen 3, the qualifying last year was not particularly great for Porsche, so that's something they'll want to work on, given they were so strong at Misano, sort of permanent circuit. Now we're back at more traditional, one of the most traditional street circuits. It's about as traditional as you can get Monaco, given how long it's existed for in as a racetrack, certainly dating back to the 30s, I guess. So yeah, Verline will certainly want to focus on his one lap pace here, but the races where most of the points will get scored, I should say. You get 3 for qualifying on pole, as I said earlier, and Verline purple in the first sector, but personal best in the middle. Let's see if he can trouble Mortara's top time, because Mortara certainly got his purple time in early on the full power mode, and Verline slots in just behind.
So this was him going through the last corner. No, not the last corner, through the tunnel. That's probably where he lost a lot of time.
Yeah, he'd had a bit of a four-wheel drift there.
And through the swimming pool as well. That's quite a touch. Came 1/10 off a pole, so time is still there. This is looking good for Mortara, who's had a horrific Misano as well. I think both Mahindras did not have the best of weekends in Misano as well. And it seems to be that that Mortara has the pace around here as well. Nick de Vries, though, in 10th place. He's still finding his feet, though, in Formula E once again after taking a year off due to him being at Formula 1, which didn't work. And I'm liking that livery for this weekend. Is that ERT or is that at Cupra?
That's ERT.
Yeah, that is.
You can tell by the sort of E logo.
And they're going to ads again. So you know what that means. I'm going to have to do the old mute, which I figured out how to do once again. There we go. That's annoying because we can't see what's out on circuit.
I just got Josh on very low volume, Jess. It tends to, or Josh's laptop, I should say.
Well, I can't because we won't get monetized if we hear a bit of music from the adverts, which is a bit annoying.
Oh, okay. You're controlling the stream audio as well. I keep forgetting. I just sort of have constantly low volume.
If it was on the other side, then I would have had it on quite low at the moment. But yeah, it's I think I got used to it in the end as well. So, but something that was launched this weekend was the Gen 3 Evo, which will debut in season 11, and Jaguar has committed to Gen 4 later on, but that there are a few technical enhancements for that. So we got the quickest accelerating FIA single-seater race car, capable of 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1.82 seconds. It's faster, stronger, and more agile. 2% performance gain from Gen 3, which is 2 seconds a lap faster in qualifying. It'd be interesting to see how that goes in like the lower speed tracks where that happens as well, and in particular the higher speed tracks as well. An aggressive new body kit designed to be stronger, more robust, and more aerodynamic. And all-wheel drive, a first-for Formula E car available during qualifying, duels, race starts, and attack mode. And this feature maximised acceleration and control, elevating the thrill of critical race moments and intensifying driver rivalries, and providing more exciting racing for drivers and fans alike. And more crucially, it has better grip as well. So, what do you think of what next year, season 11, when we go to these Gen 3 Evo cars? I'm in particular to see how the acceleration happened as well, but lots of other different characteristics that could be interesting.
Yeah, certainly. The feedback they've been saying about the tyres, Oliver Rowland did a bit of a test with the Gen 3 Evo car, and he said that the tyres are a lot better in terms of the delivery of traction on acceleration, which is good because that was a problem with attack mode at tracks like Mexico, particularly. The attack mode would be you get all that extra power, but they would just be spinning wheels, and it wouldn't translate into sort of extra performance. So attack mode would sort of be teams would try and just use it so that they could get it out of the way and then just continue on with their race. Which was not really how it was intended. It was intended to sort of be used strategically as a benefit, not as a hindrance, other than you having to go offline to go into the attack mode activation zone. But yeah, the other thing that impressed me, I think I saw somewhere that it is about 30% of the materials used on the car are recycled. So I think that's a big step, because I believe it was about 9 or 10% on the current Gen 3 car. So that's really good that they've been able to sort something out with the supply chain there. Obviously, seeing the car launched, I wished it had a few less PIF and SABIC Saudi Arabia logos on it, but maybe I'm the only one who seems to care about that.
I think Josh
but
cares for it as well, Ed, not just you.
Oh, that's true. I know, yeah, but yeah, I think the four-wheel drive is probably the thing that will get the headlines, even though it's only being used in quali and attack mode, essentially at sort of those full power modes. So it'd be interesting to see how it functions. I don't think it will change the racing significantly. I don't think it will, on its own, lead to better rivalries because all of the teams are going to have access to the same four-wheel drive. It's just whoever's got the best powertrain hardware and sort of software to make use of it. So Season 11 is... because we've sort of had the second year of this homologation, so it'll be interesting Season 11 once it opens up again, whether the likes of Jaguar and Porsche is still on top, or if DS and Maserati can pull forward, or if we can see maybe a surprise like Nissan, who seem to really gain a lot on the software in this sort of second year of the homologation cycle, or maybe even a new manufacturer like Yamaha in their partnership with Lola and Apt, whether they can build something that can be competitive, of course, because on the Formula E Zone show on Tuesday, we got Mark Preston, who, of course, is the motorsport director at Lola, and is obviously a key part of that operation. And obviously, also won several teams championships as team principal of Techeetah as well. So you'll be interested to hear what his thoughts and him answering fans' questions on Lola and Apt and why he's coming back to Formula E. Well, I think that's a pretty obvious question. I hope no one asked that. But anyway, it does look like on stream that Sergio Sede Camaro, we saw before the break, was stationary in the garage with the tyres off. They put the tyres back on, but a lot of work going on at the rear of that car.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember if we also had a problem in FP1 this morning, because obviously we know Sam Bird had an issue. That's why he's not racing for the rest of it. But I think Sete Camara got away, I think, quite lucky as well, because there was one red flag, but which was for Sam Bird, but I think there was another one as well. There was one red flag due to debris, and that was near the Lowe's hairpin, which that was the only red flag. And then there was only a yellow flag when Sam Bird had a bit of an off. But yeah, luckily the car's still ready for that. As Mitch Evans goes top, by the way, with a 1:29.6. First driver into the 125. Oliver Ellen doesn't look like he's setting personal best anywhere right now, so he's just finding his feet once again. I think he may go for a push lap later on, but Mitch Evans still on top by 0.8 of a second. That is pretty good for Mitch Evans.
It is. It's sort of roughly what we were expecting after FP1 as well. So certainly on full power, the Jaguars are looking pretty confident. But of course, it's only FP2. We'll have to see if we can replicate that come qualifying, because there could be so many things that get in the way. Traffic in the group stages as well is going to be a bit of a hindrance here at Monaco. So the teams will have to manage it well to avoid each other. Even with only half the grid, 11 cars on track, you've certainly got to find your gap out there, because Monaco, it may not seem by Formula E standards to be a short circuit, at least not anymore. But it can become that way if you just find yourself in a gaggle of 2 or 3 cars also trying to set laps at the same time. So yeah, managing that will be important. I'm just trying to see if anyone has mentioned what was happening to Sete Camara. I know Tictum has got up to 5th in the order, just behind Hughes, and looks like Taylor Barnard is still at the back, ahead of only Sete Camara, who's not set a lap yet.
Yeah, only driver to not set a representative lap time. Obviously, Taylor Barnard's still getting used to the track. As yellow flag. So yellow at turn 1. That is Sander Vort. That's the 48 that stopped. Wait, that's Mortara. That's Mortara that lost it in. Actually, yeah, it is Sander Vort. I don't know if the camera's going to show it. I think we could get a red flag. I did not hear what race control said. Yeah, I think they're just telling about the yellows in turn 1 there. So I think Tom Brooks saying it was Mortar, but I'm guessing then they're not showing the camera. I hope it's nothing serious, because usually they don't show it if it's something serious. So I think once they can get the car going, that's probably when they will show a Mortara's car. Oh, it's a replay.
So it has happened at Sandoval. Oh, has he done exactly what Bird's done? Yep, there we go.
But the car looks
like
less damaged though. But the barrier looks. I'm going to be surprised if it's a red flag, but it's not that long to go until the end of the session.
He seems to have got it out of there. So you're right. I think the front wing took a bit of a whack, but the steering seems about okay, I guess.
Yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, the 48's got going again. The 48's got going on the timing screen. So he's going quite slow. The Envisions are going to go past him as well. But we got the two Penskes out on the lap now. Van Dorn's up first. Personal best in all two sectors so far. And it's going to be P2, purple final sector for Van Dorn. And John Verne, who got pole in round 6 of Misano, is heading towards the final corner now. De Vries goes third. And Verne now's going to cross the line. He goes. Oh, Verne is struggling out there. He's only 18th, where his teammate is P2. Maybe different power modes, I don't know. But, yeah, Verne's struggling out there.
Yeah, but it is only FP2 who might be able to get things together come qualifying, as we see a shot of some of the marshals there, of their fire marshal sort of uniform at Monaco. I'm not sure what was going on there, but yeah, I think it's interesting because the Envisions were doing a lot better in FP1 as well, so maybe they're just leaving it late to do their lap time. They all look pretty congested, sort of top 13 are all within about a second of one another. So if I were Verne, I wouldn't be too concerned by that. But certainly the qualifying record for DS in Monaco has not been the best over the year. I think the Costa, of course, when he won, I believe he was
he got pole in 21 as well. So
yeah, because he won that same race as well, overtaking Mitch Evans right at the end. But yeah. Apart from that, Verne himself I don't think he's ever got into. He's gone to the duels here, but I don't think he's ever gotten into the
He finished third in 2022.
Did, yeah, he just missed out end of season 8, of course, which was the last of Gen 2 year that we went here. But yeah, Evans, I think, is on another push lap, and it looks like quite a few others as well. Gunther, de Ruvela, Dennis, and
Fairline, purple sector 1. So he's
and
sorry, carry on there.
A little moment coming out of the tunnel there as well. I thought he was going to brush the wall as he attacks the curb. There's that little sausage curb on the sort of apex there of the chicane just before Tobacco, of course. And that, to me, because it's at much lower speed, seems like more of a effective deterrent than what we saw at Misano as well, the sausage curbs at Monaco. They seem to have been placed in a more smarter way is the word I would use, because they seem to be at a speed where the car drivers are unlikely to be launched, and it's a Monaco is such a unique sort of case anyways. We see de Ruvela go up to 8th. Is Pascal Wehrlein going to be able to break into the top 3? Yes, he goes second fastest, just a 10th and a half behind Evans.
Yeah, only a tenth separating them. That is, I think, very, very tight.
And Tixon third.
Yeah. Tixon, I have to say, done very well in round number 6 in Misano as well, scoring his best result in Formula E history, and he's still 4th now. I think Tixon's had his moments, but when he gets results like that, he can find his form back up, as Robin Freint is going to cross the line. A checker flag has dropped, by the way, so we will see practice start soon. But Freint finishes his lap. He goes second. Gunther goes 4th, by the way. Roland finishes in 6th. We got DaCosta, who harshly got the win taken away from him in round 6. But I think the appeals could still happen, but we haven't had anything yet. And if they have done an appeal...
They are appealing. They are appealing.
Oh, but we're not going to get the result of that until like a few weeks after the race. So Costa goes 4th.
Yeah. Well, that happened at London last year, where they appealed. So they didn't appeal the actual penalty. They didn't appeal the fact that they had been that they'd broken the rules essentially, and that their tyre was under pressure in that instance. And what they appealed was, the penalty was too harsh. 3-minute penalty was too harsh.
Yeah,
and
it
that
was.
got thrown out. So I have a feeling they're going to try the same trick twice. I hate to say it, because I know, again, it's not the most popular take, but I have a feeling that Porsche might be just wasting a lot of money and time with these appeals when the rules are pretty cut and dry. I'm
It
afraid
is.
you can't put in the non-regulation part. Obviously it was harsh, and the only thing that might save them is the fact that if they can prove categorically that all the other teams broke the same rule as well, and they just got caught out because they were the only ones that were checked, essentially, which I do
Could
find it a little
happen.
hard to believe. Because I think the top 3 would have been checked.
Yeah, the top 3 would have been checked in round 7. And of course,
in
we saw
round 7,
Pascal.
in round 6.
Yeah, because we saw Pascal Wehrlein took the win in the Porsche, so he must have changed it somewhere. But yeah, not qualifying, but that's later on. Free practice 2 is over. We got Mitch Evans on top with Robin Bryant in second. We got Wehrlein third, Willis da Costa in fourth. We got Gunther in fifth, Dan Ticktum in sixth, Oliver Rowland in seventh, Stoffel Van Dorn in eighth, Nick de Vries ninth, Norman Nato in 10th. We got Nick Casti in 11th, Mortara in 12th, Derubala in 13th place, Jake Hughes in 14th, Jake Dennis in 15th, Nico Muller in 16th, Sasha Fenestraz in 17th, John Verne in 18th, Lucas de Grassi 19th, Sebastian Bremery 20th, Sergio Sese Camara in 21st, and Taylor Barnard in 22nd place and last. Free practice 2 is over. Ed, what are your final thoughts heading into qualifying?
Yeah, I was just looking at the official YouTube stream. Formally 4.6k people watching, which is pretty good.
At this time of the morning,
that's all gonna yeah, exactly, and that's all gonna disappear by the time it all switches to TNT for qualifying and then the race as well. But there we go. That's the way Formula E's going, I guess. But yeah, so better get used to those ads, people, at the most awkward and inconvenient times. But yeah, certainly Mitch Evans seems to be building a lot. He's never won here, hasn't he? So he's gotten close a couple of years in a row, but lost out to Nick Cassidy last year, lost out to Da Costa in season 7 as well, lost out to Van Dorn, I think, in season 8 as well. So Mitch Evans is certainly looking to put things right, but there's all sorts of challenges and hurdles to overcome, I think, and good to see some of the drivers in the sort of midfield putting in some good times there. Ticktum, of course, got his previous best finish in Formula E of 6th here last year, after unfortunately hitting the back of Gunther, damaging. It was the back of one of the cars that damaged his front wing. I think it might have been Fenestraz.
yeah,
And then he had no contact with Gunther, and then there was the safety car at the end, and he was able to jig the front wing off because it was dangling and hitting the front of his wheel. He was able to hit the back of, I think it was Hughes, to get rid of it, and then essentially finish the race from there in P6. So yeah, Ticktum certainly has got some pace around here, even though he got a lot of criticism I thought was a bit unfair for what happened last year, because it was sort of not really in his control. He got not brake tested, but Fenestraz was saving energy, and that was what sort of caused that attack there. I think we are probably going to see a lot more contact in the race as well, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, I think qualifying will be good, and be interested to see who comes out on top, because Evans is probably going to take some beating.
Yeah, he does, because he has got a lot of poles recently in ABB FIA Formula E. So that rounds up our FP2 practice coverage. But our next action for the JBMotorsports channel, we got quite a lot of clashes, so please be prepared. So we got the MotoGP free practice 2 on at 9:10. We got Joshua Birch taking you through that one. Then we got our coverage of Formula E qualifying that starts on at 9:30. On at the same time, don't know why they decided to put it on the same time, to be honest, British Touring Cars have their first free practice session of this weekend at Donington Park National. Trackside commentary with Josh T streaming that. And then straight after free practice 2 for MotoGP, we do have qualifying for that on at 9:45. So for myself and Ed, we will head off. We'll be back at 9:30, so not much for turnaround because we need to rest our voices. So have a good bit of the morning before we get back to some action in a second. And we'll see you at 9:30 for qualifying. Take care. Bye-bye.